come together to discuss a 21st century Glass-Steagall Act. I strongly believe that we shall not introduce this new act for a few main reasons. Number one, our globalized economy requires big banks. Number two, our neighbor to the north has shown how large banks are not threatening to our economies. And finally, as the previous senator has mentioned, smaller banks will be at risk if larger banks are broken up. I'd like to start by mentioning how in our globalized economy, we have trillions in trade and billions in assets. Only large banks have the capacity to provide products to those companies that need them. Neil Irwin from the Washington Post has stated that these activities can only be provided by behemoth banks. Next, our neighbor to the north, Canada, has shown how large banks are not threatening to our economy. Canada had a very mild 2008 recession, even with its concentrated banking sector. Tavia Grant from the Globe and Mail has stated that Canada was the first G7 nation to recoup its losses from the recession. And finally, as the previous senator has mentioned, smaller banks will be at risk if those larger banks are broken up. Nobel Prize economist Paul Krugman has stated that the risk of recession will spread to smaller banks, causing what happened in the Great Depression. He's also stated that, quote, breaking up big financial institutions wouldn't prevent future crises, nor would it eliminate the need for bailouts when those crises happen. I'd like to mention, some who are for this act say that another financial crash is inevitable without a new Glass-Steagall Act. However, the system is much safer because of new reforms. Robert Nichols, President and CEO of Financial Services Forum of the Washington Post, has said that due to improvements, laws passed by Congress, and regulatory changes, progress has been made. Capital and liquidity are double pre-crisis levels. Balance sheets are more solid, and risk management and governance structures have been improved, among other things. So, Senators, I would like to ask you, as we continue to dig ourselves out of the hole that was a 2008 recession, do we want to break up big banks with the 21st century Glass-Steagall Act? With our extremely globalized economy requiring companies to have access to products from all over the world, and a possible risk towards smaller banks, the answer is an obvious no. After all, Canada has had great success with large banks. Once again, I ask you to vote in opposition of the 21st century Glass-Steagall Act. Thank you, and I am now open to cross-examination.
That was 2 minutes, 58 seconds. Questions?
Can I go? Okay. Senator, why should we be basing our actions in our economy on other countries' economies, given that the American and Canadian governments and economies are different enough to have us have different results than they had, which could lead us to another economic crisis?
Senator, although we do have different governments, I believe that we should be able to base decisions on other countries that have had success through going a certain route. And I feel like we could learn from that and eventually make our own system better.
Shriya?
Senator,
Shriya, mute your camera when you're not speaking. Go ahead.
Senator, isn't it true that having an act to actually reform the economy, such as the Glass-Steagall Act, before recessions actually take place, would be more beneficial to the economy?
Pio, could you ask the Senator to repeat her question, please?
Senator, can you repeat the question, please?
Senator, don't you believe that by having an act such as the Glass-Steagall Act to reform the economy and to prevent recession before the recession actually takes place would be more beneficial to the economy itself?
Senator, it may help us, but I feel like we could, I'm sorry, Senator, could you, Pio, could you ask the Senator to repeat her question one more time? I'm sorry.
Senator, don't you believe that by having an act such as the Glass-Steagall Act to reform the economy and prevent recessions before recessions actually happen would actually benefit the economy itself?
Thank you, Senator. We don't know for sure. There's no specific evidence that this act will prevent a recession before it even happens.
Are you saying it's all right for companies and banks to take? Oh, sorry. Are you saying it's all right for companies and banks to take risks and lose money out of taxpayer money?
Senator, it may not be okay to take risk out of taxpayer money, but I mean, a lot of these companies that require these big banks are companies that we encounter in our daily lives, and it's imperative that we keep these companies going.
If these spreadsheets that the senator spoke of are so much sturdier and risk management as a whole is so much better, then why are there still occurrences like the 2008 recession, and why are we still facing economic problems?
Pio, could you ask the senator to repeat her question?
Senator, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. The senator stated that investment management is a lot better, and that we're just handling things a lot better in general now. So why are there occurrences like the 2008 recession, and why do we still face economic difficulties today?
Well, Senator, I stated that these reforms came after the 2008 recession. And even then, we're still improving from what happened in 2008. It takes time to fix these problems.
Thank you, Senator.